But for general volume, this is just like as if we were talking
Yep,
normally.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Basically,
Sounds
the
good.
conversation we had for dinner, but with microphones now,
Okay.
and no dinner, unfortunately.
And no dinner. I'm stuffed, man. I'm gonna eat another piece after though.
As how much is left of
Oh,
the
there's
piece?
three or
Because I
four.
might snag one as
Yeah,
well.
take
Because
one home, man.
it was better than I thought it was going to be. I'm
Absolutely,
going to be
take one home.
honest. What was the name of that?
Zios.
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 Zio's in Renfrew, folks. If you want good pizza, that's where you want to go.
Zios is great.
That's our first shout out.
Yeah.
I feel like because you work with so many different companies and brands. There's so many people I imagine that you want to be thankful for.
Yeah, there really is.
Folks, welcome to the Eastern Ontario Adventures podcast. And on this episode, I'm here with a dear old friend, Eron Dodds, bass fisherman extraordinaire, tournament host, and organizer. How are you doing?
Good, Doyle. I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
So we kind of this is a little bit of a last minute thing, sort of, because I wanted to have you on a podcast, and you said we have this tournament coming up. It's a CHEO tournament, wonderful tournament. You have it every year. This is the fourth year for this.
This is our third year.
Third year, and there's so many different companies helping out, and we can use this kind of as a promotion or something to let people know about it, because maybe people aren't looking at the Facebook posts. Maybe people haven't signed up. It was in the 80s for amount of people that signed up last year, I think.
Our first year, we had our inaugural year. We had roughly 60 anglers. We raised $6,045 for CHEO. 100% of the proceeds go to CHEO, of course. Our second year, the event grew. We ended up with 92 registered anglers. 86 showed up in person. That was the same day that we had the little banking e-transfer and debit card crash the night before.
Yes,
So
I remember that,
unfortunately,
and everyone was e-transferring to Casey.
yeah.
Like, oh man, that was chaos.
We still had 86 guys come out of the
Yep.
92, so it was still a really good turnout. We raised $12,225.
Yeah, that's
So we
crazy.
had a 50% growth in anglers attending and 100% growth in the money that we raised.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of the $12,225 that we raised the second year, Canadian Pacific Railway matched us for $10,000, which was, put us over the top. That was a huge boost for our event and the money that we raised. At the end of the day, we wrote a check to CHEO for $22,225.
That's
so
crazy. That's so, and only your second year. That's huge, I think.
Yeah,
for
it was a
something
lot
like
of
this.
growth.
And it's only going to keep growing and growing even more. And there's so many awesome sponsors. You got like double the amount of sponsors, it feels like, from last year.
Yeah, we have
just people who want to be
quite a
involved
few.
in like this great, super positive thing that you have going on. Give us a quick pitch on the tournament, because I guess we haven't actually talked about it and about you. So you are you the founder of Kayak Bass Canada?
Yeah, I'm the founder of Kayak Bass Canada, the director. We have a team of coordinators, and we have ambassadors spread out across Canada. The Kayak Fishing Life annual benefit tournament for CHEO is named and branded under Kayak Fishing Life. And the reason we did that is because Kayak Bass Canada is a nationwide online tournament series, and this CHEO event is local. So we decided not to mix the two, and we branded it under Kayak Fishing Life, because for most of us, kayak fishing is a way of life. Like that's what we do.
Yeah, it's our happy place.
So yeah, our third annual Kayak Fishing Life annual benefit for CHEO. Last year we did for Tiny Hearts, which was the cardiology unit.
Yep.
The inaugural year for our benefit was for Ronald McDonald House, and we transitioned over to CHEO the next year, and we had such a great relationship personally and logistically with CHEO that we decided to do CHEO again this year, and we'll probably continue to work with CHEO just
Yeah.
because CHEO's does so much different. They have so many different departments
Oh, yeah.
of their hospital.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody has kids. If you haven't been to CHEO, you know somebody who has. So it's, there's so many people and communities that are involved.
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of the reach that it has is enormous, really. Like you said, the tournament is on the 8th of July, right?
July 8th, Saturday at White Lake.
White Lake Marina.
Yeah, so you can launch anywhere you want. It's called a run and gun style. So you can launch from anywhere on the lake. You can go out on the lake as early as you want, but the tournament goes live at 7, so you can't fish until 7. The app goes live, and then lines out at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock will be our catered barbecue. And then our awards will be, roughly an hour after that. We call that happy hour, the barbecue hour.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into our, top 3 biggest bass and start raffling off, some of the amazing prizes that the sponsors have donated. And that's how we raise the extra funds. So we raise funds with the entry fees. We have a link that you can donate. Say maybe you don't fish, or it's a friend or family or your grandma would like to make a donation. If you donate to the link, you get a tax receipt directly from CHEO. The money goes directly to CHEO, but it goes in our name.
Yes.
So it's added to our check on tournament day,
Gotcha.
but we don't handle the money.
Gotcha.
And then the raffle draws, we sell tickets. Frontenac Outfitters has given us an awesome new Coosa X this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Killer boat.
I can't believe that they stepped up even more than they stepped up last year.
They did.
Again, just like mind blowing how many awesome
There's
people
so
you have
many
involved.
great sponsors. I can't list them all.
Yeah, exactly.
But these companies, we kind of have 3 objectives at Kayak Fishing Life for this benefit tournament. Number 1 is to raise funds for CHEO. That's the number 1 goal.
Yeah.
The second goal is to work with these amazing companies and brands that show us support by donating and turning their donations into funds for CHEO. And keeping those relationships going with
builds
these
a
companies,
relationship
because
with you guys.
most
and
of
the
them are
club
back
as
year
well.
after year.
Yeah. Yeah.
The third objective is just have fun, man. Camaraderie. Meet guys, bump knuckles, joke around. Most of the guys don't even care if they catch a lot of fish.
That's something that I've noticed. So I'm in several different tournaments. I'm in a walleye, in a kayak walleye, kayak pike, kayak muskie, and now I'm doing some bass ones for the Kayak Fishing Life, Kayak Bass Canada, and that's one thing that I noticed that's totally different. I know that there is, a lot of camaraderie in the kayak fishing, but if we're fishing beside each other and you catch a huge fish, I'm stoked for you. And I feel like in some of the other tournaments that you don't have that I don't know what to call it.
I think it's because they're tournaments.
Yeah.
Guys go to tournaments, they're competitive. And there's trails out there that are super competitive, and that's great. I mean, some guys love to compete. I used to be a hardcore tournament angler. I was a lone wolf. I fell in love with the sport. I went to these tournaments to win. I stayed because of the people that I met. And now I really just enjoy hosting events, taking new guys out. The whole competitive tournament thing isn't as big a part of my life anymore.
Yeah.
But these getting together on fun days, like when you and I fish together,
Yep.
joking around, pumping each other. Hey, you got a nice one. And I run over and take a picture of you with that big bass. And you're cheering each other
when
on.
you catch a pike, though.
Yeah. Or you go out and it's a small
then I gotta
bass
listen.
day.
Then you catch a pike and I gotta listen to you complain for 10 minutes about it.
How my net smells.
You're
And
like, oh, the pike is disgusting. I ate them. Slime everywhere.
I'll be honest, I'm a bass junkie, Doyle. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
bass fishing, especially from the kayak,
Well, I actually had something happen on the weekend to me that I think you think is going to be hilarious. Maybe you won't. But I caught my second pike of the morning on Sunday. Grab it behind the gills with my hand. Pike thrashed around. Hook went in my thumb and came out of my thumb. And my friend Tyler had to pull it out with pliers.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was
Pike can be very
fun
unruly.
time.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I see how people feel a certain way about them.
It's nice to catch a big pike once in a while.
It is. It is.
But I'm always
I don't
looking
know what
for that
that's
bass,
like.
big
I don't know what
bass.
that's like personally. I I only get the snot rockets, as they say.
Fish more finesse and less power techniques, and you'll shake the pike off.
That's,
you know.
well,
And I'm a finesse guy, so
something that
I don't catch too many pike.
that's something that has actually really. So I only got into bass fishing seriously last year when I joined the groups, or when I came to that CHEO tournament last year, and then I joined the August tournaments and the September tournament. I made a video about it, about my experience with it, and I couldn't have enough positive things to say about everybody that's competing in that group. Was that air conditioning? Okay.
It is a good group of guys. A lot of the guys at Kayak Bass Canada, it's nationwide. So you can fish. We have a July, August, September challenge. They're month longs. Your 5 best fish of the month, uploaded on the app. It auto calls for you. And then we added a weekend warrior challenge this weekend, which is a 2-day challenge. Hence the weekend warrior. And I mean, you got guys that are from British Columbia fishing against guys that are in Nova Scotia, fishing against guys that are in Quebec and Ontario.
I know.
And you're all on the same page, on the same app. A little bit of jabs at each other and some teasing and joking, but it's really a club. We started it as a grassroots club based on camaraderie. It's so that guys can meet each other. I met Dean Rudolph, for instance. He was our Angler of the Year runner-up last year. Navyman out in BC. He was down in Trenton here doing training, called me up and said, "Hey, man, I'm going to be in Ontario." I remember on a post, on a comment, you said, "Hey, if you're ever in Ontario, hit me up." I'm hitting you up.
Yeah.
So I met up with him. He had 3 days off from the base. He came and he hung out with us here, went to a Kayak Bass Canada tailgater. I introduced him to a bunch of guys. And I got to meet a guy from BC that host him at my house.
And how often can you say that happens in a normal tournament?
Yeah, really, it doesn't. I mean,
I think there's something, like, you definitely have created something really special, I think, and I was going to say in the Ottawa Valley area, but just it's nationwide that, you're able to reach all these different people and come together. And that's something that I think is part of the success, is that everyone shares the same common interest or same common goal or objective in terms of what they want out of their kayak fishing. I don't know what to say.
We fish because people kayak fish for different reasons. Some do it to get out in nature, beat the hustle and the bustle of the city, like I do.
Yep.
I live in the country, but I work in the city.
Yeah.
So I like getting out on the lake on the weekends. Other guys do it to better themselves as anglers. Some guys do it for the competitiveness, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to enjoy kayak fishing stress-free. And I feel our goal at Kayak Bass Canada is to be able to fish against each other, but with a light mood, with a friendly, kind of pump each other's tires, tease each other a bit. It's not like a tournament where everybody rolls into the boat launch and they're stink eye and every man for himself. It's really a good community of guys, and I like that.
Isn't there, as part of the awards, isn't there a sportsmanlike?
Yes,
award?
We do a most sportsmanlike. That's something we started just because it's, like I said, it's a grassroots club that was built on camaraderie, friendship, and having fun, man. So we like to single out that guy who either, did the most tire pumping of other guys, as I call it, or that, in a friendly way, joked and teased the most, but in a positive way to make people feel good.
Yeah, there's no shit talking award.
No,
I could win that one. I think.
You could, Doyle. I'd nominate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna when I really wanted to comment that last year, because I am that person, but it's all jokes for me. But if you don't understand my sense of humor, then you don't get it, and it just comes off that I'm being a dick.
Oh, we have lots of days like that where, the trash talking starts at the boat launch before we even have the boats off the trailers or the trucks or the roof, you know.
That's why I'm always walking around just like overly confident, and where you're like excited to go, and you're like, you know, I'm not worried about this because I'm just gonna win the whole tournament, or I'm not worried about this because I'm just gonna win the kayak at the end, you know.
That's what makes it fun, man.
That's what makes it fun for me.
You
I
know?
know, I mean, neither of those things, the likelihood of either of those things is pretty low. But it makes it just adds, it's just fun teasing everyone. And
That's it. Yeah, we always say that if nobody's teasing you or joking with you, then you're not fitting in well enough.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a sign of brotherly love, more
That's
or less,
what I
right?
think too, yeah.
And it keeps everybody in a light mood and having fun, and guys sharing baits and tactics. And sure, there's some guys that are real competitive, but overall, guys are just there for the camaraderie, man. Just to feel included with other like-minded people who share a passion for the sport, you know?
So you were a tournament angler for so long. What are your fish? You have any fishing secrets? Any because I know you really like fishing finesse. Big
Yes,
finesse.
I like fishing slow.
You fish very slow. When we fished, you fish with a Senko or wacky rig or just most of the day. I don't even know if you had anything else on.
Yeah, I would say my favorites are anything weightless. I mean, I'm a largemouth guy at heart, and even when I fish smallmouth, quite often they're shallow little lakes, so you don't want to fish with a lot of weight because you're not in the strike zone long. But I would say my favorite are, you know, Texas rig. I like wacky worm. The Ned rig is a great producer for even shallow or deeper smallmouth. And I've really started turning on to a weightless paddle tail swim bait.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's a bait that I really like to get those reaction strikes, rip it through the grass or through over top of weed beds.
Yep.
Drop shot. You know, I'm not really one to throw cranks and spinner baits and stuff like that.
For bass, I'm not either.
You know?
I don't know. I can't say that I ever used a crankbait. Jerk baits for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, similar to the reaction strike of your swim bait.
Yeah.
Just be a little bit more hooks and a little bit more pulling weeds off your line at every cast. But
well, quite often I'll tuck that hook into the top of the body of the paddle tail. I don't know if you can call it a swim bait, but same kind of idea.
So.
And then it becomes basically weedless or like a fluke. You know, you can tuck that hook into the body, and you're not picking up the weeds. I would say, you know, the biggest secret to tournament fishing, the experiences I had years ago, and I had some success tournament fishing for a good 4 or 5 years, is to dissect an area. You know, if you know an area is holding fish, stay there, grind it out.
And figure out what they're going to...
Grind it out. If you think they're there, chances are they are. They're just not biting.
They're just not, whatever you're throwing.
But when they turn on,
working, or
they're going to bite. And maybe you just need to try a different presentation. I see a lot of guys that run all over the lake from spot to spot to spot, and they spend a lot of the time paddling or pedaling and not fishing.
Yeah,
you know?
I do that sometimes because I fish the same 4 or 5 lakes quite often, and I know, or I think I know, what's going to bite in what area. You know, I know that, you know, off of this rock wall, I want to throw a drop shot, or over these boulders, I want to throw a Ned rig, or there's a big weed bed here where I'm just going to rip a spinner for 10 minutes. But if I don't get that initial strike, then I just move on to the next spot. But I do know that there's fish there, and then I just, for some reason, convince myself they're not going to bite right now. I'll come back around to it.
My advice would be to slow down and dissect that water more instead of casting, you know, at 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 3 o'clock, and then saying, okay, there's no fish here. Cast at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, close to your boat. Then 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, a little further from your boat. And then 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, far from your boat. You just covered a ton of water as opposed to just 3 casts and then spending 20 minutes going to a new spot. That's how I always tournament fished. I mean, One year, I won Angler of the Year one year by running all over, pre-fishing these lakes. Got to get to this spot. Got to go 2 kilometers over here, 3-4 kilometers over here. And I ran myself ragged trying to get to these, what I thought were hot spots. I had a great year, won Angler of the Year. The next year, I was lucky enough to win Angler of the Year again, except I had surgery that year and I couldn't paddle far. So I had to hang around the boat launches. So I thought, okay, how am I going to pull this off this year? And I fished within maybe a half kilometer of the boat launch for all 5 events.
Wow.
And I still won Angler of the Year that year.
Wow.
And what that year taught me that I couldn't paddle much was that fish are everywhere in the lake. It's not about how many different spots or kilometers you cover. It's about how you dissect or grind those areas that you think will hold fish. If you find a weed bed, dissect it. Don't just throw a few casts and leave. If you find a rock wall or some boulders, work it. Because those areas, that structure is going to hold fish. Maybe they're not biting your first cast with a spinner bait or your first toss with a swim bait. But if you keep working that water, it'll pay off.
Okay, interesting.
That's my best advice.
Yeah,
and it's worked for me in the past.
Try doing that. On the second and third now for our month-long tournament.
Yeah, just grind it, Doyle.
How have you found? So the tournaments that you do before, I would assume it's like a 1 day or a weekend type of thing.
Yeah, they were all live events.
How do you find the month-long challenges differ from those 2-day events?
Yeah, I mean a live event. First off, the great thing about a live event is meeting up with everybody. Yeah. That's the social aspect that makes live events awesome. As long as guys are, friendly and not too focused on winning.
Yeah, no weights and walleyes.
No, none of that
thing,
allowed. Yeah, and I mean that's what's nice about live events. What's nice about the onlines is a couple of things. First off, you don't have to fish that certain tournament day. That means if the tournament's Saturday and the winds are plus 30 or it's pouring rain, you have to fish that tournament regardless because that's the day the tournament is. With the online month-longs, if Saturday's pouring rain and 30-kilometer winds, you can fish Sunday. Or you can fish after work.
Yep.
Or, you can basically fish as many times as you want per month, as many different bodies of water as you want, whenever you want. So you don't have to travel really far. You can make it so that fishing is on your schedule when you want to fish. And you have the choice of fishing your favorite lakes and spots as opposed to having to fish a certain tournament lake that you have no experience on. So it takes a lot of pressure off the driving, your work schedule, family schedule, and most guys really love fishing their honey hole lakes.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? Because you're going to catch. And it's local. I mean, you don't have to drive, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 hours to go to a tournament. You can fish right at your cottage or whatever lake's close to home,
There's one thing you've talked about that I've always admired about you is that you love to get people into fishing as well as just fishing yourself or organizing tournaments.
Absolutely.
And you introduce a ton of people into the kayak fishing world. And you've got how many kayaks do you have now?
We have 3 right now.
And how often do you see yourself taking people out, and what are their reactions? How does someone get in touch with you even to do that, or you just bring it up in casual conversations at work?
Quite often, it's and that's happened at work. Parker Baker, Will Armstrong. These are guys I met on job sites in Ottawa. We got talking and do you fish? Oh, you fish? I fish. Okay, we're best friends now.
Yeah.
Then once we get talking about how we fish, what kind of boat do you got? Oh, I kayak fish. Kayak fish? How do you fish out of a kayak? Okay, well, then the work stops. The phone comes out and we start picture. Oh, wow, I never knew you could stand up in a kayak.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then that opens the door for me to say, hey, man, you ever want to try kayak fishing? I've got multiple boats, paddles, gear. Let me know. I'll get you on the water. And to be honest, Doyle, I used to love tournament fishing, and I still kind of do. but I get a lot more satisfaction out of getting a guy out, watching that big smile crack when he gets in it. How do you like the kayak? Oh, this is awesome. I love this. And that gives me a lot more pleasure and satisfaction than just tournament fishing. It's really
more
rewarding, man.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
you're making these friendships with people. So, I mean, anybody that's out there, if you want to try kayak fishing, whether you're a bank fisherman, a bass boat guy, you fish off your parents' pontoon boat, you want to try kayak fishing,
Don't hesitate to reach out.
message
to
me,
you.
man.
Yeah.
We'll get you on the water. That's what we do. The companies that sponsor us and support us, they want to grow the sport too.
Yeah.
And we have the tools to do it. Our job is to welcome new people and to share our expertise, if you want to call that, and just get out and have fun, man. For everybody, it's something different. My wife likes to get out, fish for a couple hours, then go to an island, have a little picnic.
Yeah.
But it's all about enjoying the lake and the serenity. You're not leaving a carbon footprint. And I mean, kayak fishing, it can get expensive. I mean, you could buy a $400 kayak from, say Walmart, and a cheap paddle and a fishing rod from Walmart, and get out and you're kayak fishing.
Yeah.
Some of the guys, their boats are getting into 10, 15 grand with all the goodies. The point is that a wide spectrum of the budget and intensity and commitment level that you want to have to kayak fish. So it doesn't matter what you have or why you fish. It's the point that you just want to get out and kayak fish. Once you have your boat and gear, you don't have to feed it. There's no gas. There's no
gas.
insurance. There's no registration, at least not in Canada. There's no repairs. You don't have to pay to store it at the marina or at the docks. So once you have your stuff, it's really economical.
Yeah. It's an investment.
And it's good exercise.
It is good exercise. I don't know how much exercise those pedals are. I feel like
Enough.
it's pretty easy.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have a pedal drive now. I got my first one last year. It's faster. You can go further. And when the wind kicks up and it's choppy, it's easier to get back to shore. So pedals are faster. They give you more range and better speed. But I'd still rather paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this year I'll be using electric power too with Torpedo, which I mean is awesome because your range and plus 30. I'm using a motor, but I would honestly say between you and I, Doyle, I would rather either paddle or electric. I personally don't love to pedal. It works really well.
Yeah.
I'd just rather either paddle or electric.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
But everybody's different.
Yeah, I would love to try the pedal drive. I have yet to
Next
try
time we
one.
go out.
I know. Everyone keeps saying that.
I'll take a Liska, you take the Nar.
Something about paddling, for me anyways, you're more like in tune with the water
And your kayak, yeah.
and the kayak.
Yeah. I grew up paddling like canoes and stuff like that. So my heart is in paddling over pedaling. But if you're a tournament angler and you're fishing on those tournament days when it might be real choppy wind or you have to cover a lot of ground, then yes, pedaling does, outshine paddling. But for pure enjoyment and for those back lakes and small little lakes and rivers, paddling is the way to go.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Actually, like on some of the, on two lakes that come to mind, I don't even think you could use the pedals.
No, a lot of the lakes I fish, that's why we have the two Liskas. One's mine, one's my wife's. I use a Malone trailer, so it makes life a lot easier.
So do you have an opinion on the pedals versus paddling versus electric motor specifically for tournaments? Because I know a lot of people have very strong opinions about not, first of all, paddling versus a pedal drive, and then also electric motor versus paddling. But the step from an electric motor to the pedals is not that big of a leap, in my opinion.
I have to agree. I mean, I'll be blunt and honest with you and give you my straight up opinion. This is a much debated topic.
I know. That's why I'm curious to know your opinion.
First off, I mean, when kayak fishing started, like the original guys that were doing it, I'm talking about like Jim Salmons, these guys that were, kayak fishing before we even knew that you could fish out of a kayak. They were paddling 100%. And these guys were on the ocean, they're on big water. And, then all of a sudden, pedal drives came out, and a lot of guys looked at it as it was an advantage. It is an advantage in the sense that you can go further, faster, and fight wind better. But it's a disadvantage that you're spooking fish in shallow water. When I fish shallow water, they're not hearing that pedal drive coming. Just like a bass boat has that trolling motor coming.
Right.
I can paddle, like ever so softly, and sneak up on those largemouth bass shallow and smallmouth, where a pedal drive does create some noise. It may not spook the younger fish that are trying to climb the food chain, but it definitely could spook those conditioned older fish that have been around the block.
Yep.
And they're the ones we want to catch. Yeah. So I mean,
want to catch.
There's some guys that were against pedal drives when they came out, and the guys that either could afford or invested in the pedal drive said, hey, don't complain. It's evolution of the sport.
Yep.
And they're right. The sport is evolving, but
It's just like every other sport, with the springs and the shoes and
yeah, I mean, all sports evolve. You look at tube skates and wooden sticks compared to, these new sticks that the puck just, explodes off. You know what I mean? Like everything's changed in sports, and so is kayak fishing. And then when electric power came out, the first guys to complain weren't the guys that were paddling. A lot of it was the guys that were pedaling, because they felt like their advantage was now taken away over the paddlers. So, I mean, but that's part of evolution.
Yeah.
When something new comes out that trumps something else, you're always going to get a bit of static. But a lot of times when guys try it, they're like, wow, this is really cool. And I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you pedal, or have electric power.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
You're still kayak fishing.
It's not going to change like your abilities as an angler.
Pedals and electric power don't catch fish, man.
Yeah.
If anything, you spend more time running around, just like fish finders.
Yeah.
I haven't even pulled my fish finder out this year. I went out for 2 days. I had real successful days. One of them was on a new body of water.
Oh.
And I didn't even bring my fish finder. We went old school just to see if we still had
You
the
still
knack,
got it.
So, I mean...
You brought like a depth chart with you on a
No.
a laminated piece of paper with circles drawn on.
No,
there?
we just we fished shallow lakes and read the structure. Weed beds, stumps, wood. Read the shoreline, rock cliffs, cuts. Usually, whatever you see above the water is what's under the water.
Yeah.
So that's a good rule of thumb. But I mean, that's my opinion on paddle versus pedal versus electric, is that they're all just tools to kayak fish, man. Whatever you choose to be your favorite, more power to you, man. I mean, I don't think it gives guys an advantage other than range.
Yeah.
Really,
and if you're on a small lake like the lakes that I fished or the lake that we went to, or even where you and Casey ended up going,
you're not going to use electric there.
Yeah, electric or a pedal drive is not it's not going to make or break your experience.
No, and I've fished against lots of guys with pedal drives and outfished them before I even had a pedal. I mean, I've been kayak fishing for 6-7 years now. I just got a pedal drive last year.
Yeah.
I paddled for those first 5-6 years, and I still do. I love to paddle. I mean, it's really to each their own, and whatever guys find is they get the most enjoyment out of. That shouldn't be something dictated by others. I know at Kayak Bass Canada we allow electric motors up to 3 horse.
Is that in? I know you allowed it during the CHEO tournament last year. Is it allowed for all of the month-long tournaments as well? Okay.
Absolutely. If you want to use electric power, 3 horsepower is the max, like your Torqeedo 1103. Anything under that is acceptable as long as it's electric power. The sport's evolving. It's changing. And, I mean, I think it's great. Some guys say, well, if you're going to have an electric-powered kayak and all those goodies,
Why
for
not
10
just
or
get a
why
boat
not
or
just buy a
something?
boat?
Get a
Well, because if
10-foot
I buy a
boat.
boat, I'm into repairs,
There's a lot
oil,
more
gas,
that goes.
insurance.
There's like way more that goes into a boat. You know, it's like it's almost like having a second car.
It
In
is.
a
Actually,
way.
boats are more expensive than cars as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they can break you.
It depends how much you use it, I guess.
Yeah, I've fished out of bass boats with friends, and it was great. But once I got into kayak fishing, it was just totally different. Like, you're part of your boat. It's a lot more satisfying when you can go out, sneak up on those fish quietly, and outfish or keep up with fishing with a guy who's in $100,000 boat.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is. I think
Right?
that's sweet.
We should maybe
that's
have like a
awesome.
bass boat versus kayak boat one day.
So
To bridge the gap and build camaraderie, not to
Yeah.
separate ourselves from them, but to
So one of my closest friends, his name's Ian. He fishes out of a bass boat
I think
because there a distinct advantage. You know, I feel like at that point, if you fish the St. Lawrence in a boat, you're gonna have a very different experience than if you were gonna fish it in a kayak. I would assume. I've
yeah,
never
the
fished
boat
St.
has more range, and they can get from spot to spot quicker. My friend Brett Miller, who's a part of Renegade Bass, 20-foot skeeter, and we fished out of his bass boat one day. The next weekend we went out in the kayaks. And he said to me, he's like, wow, man, like, we really snuck up on some good fish. So it's nice to hear that guys can appreciate that. I know last year a little bit, this year we're starting to see a lot more guys coming from bass boats. I mean, with the cost of ownership and fuel and, just the
I can imagine
economy.
with the gas prices.
People's mortgages going up ridiculous.
Yeah.
People are looking at ways to live a more economical life, and we're starting to get a lot more bass guys coming over and trying kayak fishing. Last night I had a guy here, met him for the first time, invited him over. Richard Denisha, he wanted to join Kayak Bass Canada in the charity event, but he didn't know how to use the app. He'd always caught his fish, put them in a live well in the bass boat, drove to shore and got them weighed. So we went through the bump board and how it's catch, photo, release, which in my opinion is a lot better for
It's better for the fish. Like way better for the fish because they're not less stress for them.
They're getting put back where they were caught, not
Yep.
sitting in a live well and then going to shore,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then you
getting
have,
dumped in one spot later.
50 fish being dropped or set free at the boat launch, then
That's right. So I think for for the fish, it's better. Richard came over. We went through the app. We went through some stuff, and he's coming off a boat. Christian Gervais, Kayak Bass Canada ambassador, fellow team member on Jackson Kayak. He came from a bass boat. There's quite a few guys that are starting to come from not just bass boats, but like tinner boats,
Yeah.
V hulls. A lot of guys are just looking for another way to continue to fish that doesn't hurt the bank so hard. And I know, I mean, myself, I used to run $100 through, my buddy's bass boat like nothing.
Yeah.
And that's back when
It's
gas was
easy.
50 cents.
Yeah, it's easy to run through. It.
So I couldn't even imagine what you could spend in a day now out on the lake. Not that it's not fun, but I've really grown to love, kayak fishing and what it means to be a kayak angler. It's a different breed of people for sure.
So let's talk about the bump board. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about the rules for the tournament.
Okay, for
'Cause
Kayak
you
Bass
have-
Canada or the charity event? They're
Well,
similar.
They're very similar.
They're very similar.
They're very similar. Like, you're using the specific CHEO boards to sponsor the tournament. So
For
everyone's
Kayak
gotta
Bass
use
Canada.
those boards.
For the charity event, well, the reason we use catchboard only is we're a kayak bass fishing partner club,
Yep.
KBF.
KBF.
KBF has transitioned to only the catchboard. The main reason is they don't flex or bend.
Yep.
They're very rigid. They're almost indestructible, and that is the only sanctioned board for KBF. So we follow suit. For the charity event, we allow the old school hog trough,
Okay.
which has been a good board for
Yep.
a long time.
It's very similar.
I prefer the catchboard. I think it's a sturdier, longer lasting board. But for the charity event, we do allow both the
Okay.
hog trough and the catch board.
Yeah, because maybe not everyone has the ability to get a CHEO board. I think they only sell them at Frontenac if you want to
Yep.
get it in person.
There's
or
a
you can
couple
buy them
places
online.
in Ontario that sell
there
them.
are now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
We finally
I
got
ended
them
up
into
getting
Frontenac
mine
now,
online.
so it's great to have them and guys can get them there. But yeah, it's a great investment for what they're worth. I mean, a catch board will last you, 3-4 times longer than some of the conventional boards.
Well, what I saw when I was ordering mine on the website, I got like a medium 36 inch, I think, and I can use it for the pike stuff, or the walleye stuff, and for bass. So it kind of suited my purposes. But they have some really nice ones.
The hog trough board's probably $20-25 at Cabela's.
Yeah.
The Catch Carbonite yellow plastic version board, super rigid. I mean, there's guys driving over them with their trucks, dropping them out windows. They don't break. You're about, I think, around $50 maybe for a board.
Yeah,
and then Catch also makes some really nice aluminum boards.
Yes.
They're beautiful. They're, expensive. What I don't like about the metal boards is that they get really hot in the sun. And unless you cool that board off in the water with your hand, I wouldn't want to be a fish laying on a hot metal board. They are really cool, the machined aluminum.
I didn't think about that,
but I
actually.
think the carbonite plastic is the way to go. That's what I recommend to people. And then, if you did lose it, it's not $100 and some dollar board.
Not the end of the world, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
'cause I
they
saw
don't
that,
float.
Someone happened to somebody on the weekend there at a tournament. Ended up dropping his board. Couldn't
Yeah, I
measure
mean,
any
there's
fish.
holes in the end. You can tether it off. Or if you flip the board over, you can buy some of the...
spray foam or something.
Well, you can buy some of the weather stripping that you buy for doors.
Yep.
It's circular, and you can glue it into the crevice on the bottom of the board, and it will make the
Okay.
board float. Same with the hog trough.
Yeah.
It's like a little doweling, but it's foam.
Yeah.
So you can always add that to
Yeah,
it
that's a
and
good
make your
idea.
board float.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that because of an incident that happened to me last year. The very first day that I got my board, I dropped it, sank down almost 20 feet. Ended up stripping down all my clothes because I needed it to fish.
Yeah,
Kept diving in the water until I was able to grab it.
you got it back.
Ended up grabbing it just with my toes, kind of pencil diving my way down. And
Yeah.
the sun set, and I'm pencil diving down, trying to grab this board. Oh man,
That's hilarious.
It was a panic attack for
So
me.
I got a question for you, Doyle, and I know everybody wants to hear this quick story. What else is a catch board good for? If you're not
is that a
measuring
trick?
fish on it, what else could you use a catch board
Oh
for?
gosh. So
This is a great story.
if you follow my YouTube channel, or if you follow my friend Tyler Ryan, it was in the beginning of the September tournament last year. Early morning, you get all your stuff, put it in the car the night before. You're going to fish, and you get up at 3:00 the next day, drive out to go fishing. My friend Tyler and I are at a brand new lake neither of us had ever fished. We're moving a little bit slower because we're doing lots of YouTube stuff, filming, getting ready, rigging up, all that stuff, kind of loading up the kayaks. And it's a gorgeous Sunday morning, 5:00 in the morning. My buddy Tyler, he starts paddling out. I hop in my kayak, look around me, realize that I forgot my paddle at home, and you know what? I have I have a little bit longer catch board. Mine's a 36 inch, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going home. I'm not driving 2 hours back home and coming back. People I know are not going to answer my phone calls or texts at 6:00 in the morning. Then I'm going to use my catch board. I'm going to paddle around with it all day. And I paddled. I used that thing. It worked pretty good, to be honest. If you
That's
like
hilarious.
canoeing and stuff, it was very similar.
I love that story. There you have it, guys. If you
At the end
if
of-
you have a catch board, it's not just to measure fish. You can paddle your kayak with the
You
catch
can paddle
board.
with it. I recommend the 36, maybe not the 24. Be a little bit harder.
A little short, yeah.
But there's a clip of me at the end of a video that I made about my first time fishing the Kayak Bass Canada tournament last year. I don't really remember if it was the August tournament or the September tournament. There's a clip of me at the end of the video saying, "Next time I won't forget my paddle," and I'm literally paddling in that with the catch board.
Yeah, I saw it. It's hilarious.
Just
It's classic. I mean,
And-
I give you props for toughing it out and not letting it ruin your day of fishing.
what else are you gonna
That's
do,
an
you
awesome
know?
story.
what are the options? You know,
I probably would have done the same,
well,
to be honest. No matter what I would have fished, I just would have fished all the shore near the launch and grinded it out.
Friggin'
But yeah,
use your hands or something.
guaranteed
You know?
I still would have
There's
fished.
something. Yeah, I'm not gonna let it ruin my day. That's what Mondays are for. That's what work
right.
is for.
That's what work is for.
That's what work
man.
is for, man.
Yeah.
If I want to ruin my day, I'll just
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to say, at Kayak Bass Canada, we appreciate the videos and the content and the stuff that you do for our club, to help gain awareness for the club and for the sport in general, Doyle. So it's pretty cool because my media skills end at, a Facebook post. So having a guy like you around that, puts out some cool photos and videos and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that last video. It wasn't a, big promotion video. It wasn't a video about promoting yourself. I laughed through half the video.
Nice.
Like it was really fun to watch. Like I wanted to see another one now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice fresh take on YouTubing or video and content creation that you don't see all the time. So it's refreshing, man. I gotta say, I always enjoy your videos.
Oh, thanks.
They're really good.
Hopefully, I'll post more.
Yeah, I'm always wondering
I'm a
what's Doyle
podcast
gonna
guy
do
now,
next. Yeah,
just
what's
'cause
coming up the pipeline here?
It's so hard because the videos that I want to make, generally I'm doing something for months at a time. The video about September that I posted was actually a mix of both August and September together.
Yeah.
Just because of how I ended up needing to film it and stuff like that. I film every time I go out fishing. If it's just with a GoPro or I'm just doing, I have a camera, I'm doing a vlog or getting some kind of footage every time that I go so I can make a video like this. And I want to tell that kind of story. And in that video, you can see the struggles that I go through and the frustration. I show the 10-inch pike that I catch on a pop water.
Yeah, the real life content that's candid.
Like I'm showing the 18-inch largemouth that bit my line and came off, or I show a bass. I catch a bass on a Senko, jumps up, lands in my kayak, then flops out of the kayak, comes off immediately, and it's just like you need those real moments, in my opinion, to tell a good story.
Absolutely.
And in a lot of the videos that I've seen is more of just a montage of fish catches.
Yeah,
which is good. I'm just I want to be different. I think that's what I'm striving for.
I like the candid content, the raw, real life, kind of behind the scenes.
Because you know what,
content.
Because that's when the real personality comes out.
Absolutely.
Like my sarcasm comes out. It's like you said, it makes it more real, and that's
100%.
That's what everyone should strive
People,
to be.
I think guys can relate to that more easily and enjoy relating to that more because it's not sugar-coated. It's not, polished.
Mm-hmm.
It's just real life content. I like that better. I found it was really cool. I mean, I was out fishing with Casey Ryan last weekend, good friend of mine, and Casey's like, "You want to do a release shot?" I said, "Sure." So I paddled up beside him, grabbed his GoPro, and he released his fish maybe like 4 feet away from my kayak. The fish flared its gills, this largemouth, jumped out of the water after it was released, and landed in my boat underneath my seat. We got it on video.
Really?
But I mean, that kind of stuff is like, that's the funny stuff that happens when you're out fishing with your buddy, It's just to catch that stuff and to be the kind of guy that's confident enough about what you do to use that footage. It's funny. It's real.
The
right?
direction that kind of fishing YouTubers or fishing television has gone, and in certain ways, it's nice to when someone is talking about the baits and how they're working it and stuff like that, and all the information you can get out of those shows is great.
I think it's just a little more generic.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know?
it's too structured.
Yeah, it's
Everything is
structured,
becoming so structured now.
cookie cutter.
Same thing with this podcast. Like I said to you, even when I talked to you on the phone, you're like, "How are we gonna do this?" And I was like, "Oh, we're just gonna sit on the couch and talk. It's gonna be better that way. Trust me. We're not doing the on video studio thing. We're not doing that because you know what? People, something snaps in their brain. Same as if I get out and point a camera in your face, something clicks where you can't be yourself for some reason.
Yeah, it's not off the cuff.
You're trying to be I don't want to say you're trying to be the best version of yourself.
You're
Maybe
trying to
like,
be structured.
yeah, you're trying to be, you're on your toes a little bit. You're
thinking about image and presentation.
Yes.
It's not just a sit back and casual, have a beer on the deck kind of conversation, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what at least to me makes something like this so way more relatable than someone in a radio show doing an interview with the mayor of the city about the new concrete foundation they're pouring for the city hall. I don't know.
And I mean, the nice thing is we didn't have to do our hair.
Exactly. Well, I did my hair. You just didn't notice.
Yeah, no, I don't think you did, Doyle.
No, I didn't.
It doesn't look like you did. But no, it's definitely a nice new take. It's a fresh, different kind of style. And I'll be honest, I'm digging it, man. Just like the videos. I like that candid, off the cuff, a little bit of humor. And I guess it really comes down to like letting your guard down.
Exactly.
And just
yes.
being natural,
yes.
man.
Yeah.
Letting it flow.
Yeah. And it makes it easier for you as a guest, but it makes it easier for other people just to listen to. Because when people are listening to this, it's kind of like they're in the room.
Yeah, you have to adapt.
You have to adapt.
Just like fishing.
Exactly.
You've got to be ready
for
take
any
what
situation.
comes at you and make the best of it and do what's for the greater good. I mean, this year for the Kayak Fishing Life third annual benefit event for CHEO, we're going to have a killer barbecue. We have a local deli and butcher that's supporting us with some, deli quality food.
Mm-hmm.
No Frills and Renfrew is putting us up with all the fruits, snacks, drinks, all the extras. We're going to have more raffle prizes than last year with smaller grand prize packages so that it spreads it out more to more anglers. We have an awesome Coosa X, to raffle off. And, it's to see, have that 92 to 100 guys again this year. I'm thinking we're going to hit 100. We capped it at 100. Mm-hmm. I think we're at 77 tonight. So there's still another week and a half or more.
While we've been sitting here, like
4 or 5
people have signed up.
Yeah,
what do you mean we're
up
up to 77 anglers?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, the support that we get, and we have guys from everywhere, man. I mean, a lot of clubs are very cliquey, and that's normal. I mean, doesn't matter if it's bass boat, kayak, hockey, whatever. Mm-hmm. Cliques occur. That's normal.
Yeah.
But we have guys coming from like St. Catharines. One of our volunteers is from St. Catharines, Steve Veit at Hard Knocks. Jay Brown coming from St. Catharines. We have guys coming from Hamilton. We have guys coming from as far as Montreal, all through Quebec from Team Brothers Fishing. And then our Ontario guys. It's kind of a mixed bag of anglers from everywhere just coming together for this fun day and to raise money for the hospital, man.
Yeah.
It's
I can't wait, honestly. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun last year, although maybe it could have been a little bit cooler. I think quite a few people got sunburned last year.
Yeah, last year was hot. Well, the good news is this year one of our headline sponsors is Hydrolite. Now a lot of us, kayak fishing guys have never heard about Hydrolite.
I don't even know what it is, but
the reason I want to take it
makes me think of like is it like a
Hydrate.
Pokemon or
No. So the reason I'd like to mention them is Hydrolite's one of our biggest sponsors this year. They're the official rehydration drink sponsor of the Florida Panthers NHL team.
Oh, okay. I
Okay,
have heard
so
about
it's
this.
kind of comparable to like BioSteel.
Yep.
Toronto Maple Leaf guys, you'll see them drinking BioSteel
Yep.
on the
Yeah. Yeah.
bench. Florida Panthers, Florida, one of the hottest hockey towns or cities in North America.
Yeah. Especially right now.
Hydrolyte is their choice. So Hydrolyte is sponsoring us this year. We're gonna have a Hydrolyte rehydration station at the end of the day, so everybody can rehydrate, properly. In the morning when you guys roll in, you're gonna get a swag bag. You're gonna get greeted at the gate by one of our French-speaking and English-speaking guys. And as soon as you come around the corner to launch your kayak, you're going to be welcomed by a team of people from Starbucks. So we're going to have a crew from Starbucks that's sponsoring us. They're going to be there serving us coffee. So you go up to the Starbucks table. They're going to have some, banana nut loaf or chocolate chip loaf or whatever, and be serving coffee to our anglers this year. So
And that's all donation.
it's all
donated by
sponsored.
them.
Yeah, this is Starbucks sponsor. So what's really cool is we're starting to integrate some of these, not just kayak and fishing brands.
Yeah, you're
but
breaking out of
companies
that
that are-
bubble.
local
that
support,
fishing
international
bubble.
support. It's and it's really cool because it brings a different element to the event. And I mean, even Starbucks, they're a local company in Ottawa. We have our awesome companies like Benny Branches, Yak Attack, Malone, Shimano. These are all big kayak and fishing companies that support us, but we're mixing it in with some international brands and these local, Ottawa Valley companies
Yep.
that are chipping into. I mean, even the White Lake General Store is putting together. I haven't announced it yet, but they're putting together a nice little.
Is it going to be announced before the 30th?
It will.
Okay.
It will. Probably tomorrow, maybe
maybe have to-
later tonight.
you have to let me know.
But yeah, they got wind of what was going on at the White Lake Marina, and they said, hey, we'd like to donate.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
And chip in too. So seeing the community sports pretty cool. I know my dad's going to be fishing it this year.
Yeah.
He's 76. Just took him out for his first kayak fishing trip this spring or summer, and he's just excited to get out in the water. And I think half of it is he came last year as a spectator, and he met a bunch of you guys, and after he saw the camaraderie and the friendship, he wanted to be a part of that. And he's a tradesman. He works in Ottawa with some of the roughest, toughest guys.
Yeah.
He's not shy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he
Yeah.
was amazed that so many guys could get along and have so much fun at
Yeah,
one
especially
spot.
after
You know what I
coming
mean?
from that occupation. as
Yeah,
well.
he's a blue collar HVAC guy in Ottawa. So I mean, it's the wild, wild west, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, and we get a lot of anglers that say that they're like, the vibe is just outstanding. Like last year, Andrew and Pete, our hosts at the White Lake Marina, we collected the parking money. The first year, Andrew and Pete donated half the parking money back to us as their donation. Last year, I went to pay Andrea inside the store, and she said, no, Aaron, you keep that. I said, you want to donate half like you did last year? And she said, you know what? She gave me a hug and she said, thank you for this wonderful buzz you've brought to our little marina. And I'll be honest with you, Doyle. Like I almost shed it. Like I got like emotional, bro. I did. I got really emotional. Like it was like super heartwarming. Like I was tearing up about it because this lady just gave me $860 to give back to CHEO. She
Yeah.
could have pocketed that.
Yeah.
And it's her right to. But this is how it brings out the best in people and not just the camaraderie but the generosity of people to say, you know what, I have a pretty good life, like maybe I don't have a Ferrari and I don't live in a mansion, but life's pretty good, and you look at something like the Children's Hospital and what they do for the communities and the families that are in all of our areas, where you live, where I live, and you start to realize like life's pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to give back. I want to do something good for the community. And I think that's it gets infectious and it grows.
if you like everything you just heard, you want to sign up for the tournament, what is the best way to do that? If someone's
So
listening to this, they're like,
for the
I want to
Kayak
meet
Fishing
this
Life
Eron
event,
guy, and I want to sign up for the CHEO tournament. Let's say the CHEO tournament specifically.
okay.
What can they do?
So you can either reach out to me on Facebook, Eron Dodds, EronDodds, or you can go find the Kayak Fishing Life Facebook page. Details are in there under events. Or you can go on the Fishing Chaos app and punch in Kayak Fishing Life or Canada, and it'll pop up. That's the easiest way to see what we're doing and to register or join in.
Yeah. And the tournament is on July 8th.
Yeah.
So you have to sign up before then. It's
Yeah.
at the White Lake Marina.
That's right.
6 in the morning.
People can start showing up about
Lines drop at 7.
lines drop at 7, so the gates will open at 5:30.
Yep.
You can't get into the marina before 5:30. You can't camp there. It's a private marina.
Gotcha.
There'll be guys there opening the gates at 5:30. Start launching around 6:30. Have your coffee, Starbucks, hang out, talk. Lines in the water at 7, and then the tournament's over at 2. Barbecue at 3. For those of you that want to sign up for Kayak Bass Canada, same thing. Go on, reach out to me personally. Go on to Facebook, search Kayak Bass Canada. As soon as you get on that Facebook group, you just ask to join it. It's a free group. Someone will approve you, and all the details and information are there of the July, August, September, October events. And same thing, you can go on Fishing Chaos, punch in Canada, and the Kayak Bass Canada events will come up. So they're very similar of how to find them and sign up on the app.
And then you also do a lot of announcements and live streams about the tournaments, kind of before and after.
Before and after.
About the winners and
sponsored
tournament
prizes,
identification codes. Stuff
Yep,
like
the
that.
codes.
So,
all the information is there under events, or at the top of the Facebook pages. You'll see pinned to the top announcements. All those announcements posts are key information for either the CHEO event on Kayak Fishing Life or Kayak Bass Canada's, pertinent information for all of the month-long events.
Awesome.
So, one more thing about Kayak Bass Canada events is, we pay out our top 5, but all of the sponsors' donated items are raffled off randomly each month open to all anglers. So that whether you're a top angler cashing a check, there's always the option to win a great prize from one of our sponsors. So we kind of have something at both ends of the spectrum at Kayak Bass Canada.
Well, looking forward to it. Can't wait for the tournaments. And we're going to end the podcast there. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home and allowing me to sit on your couch and having some dinner and talking about all the things fishing tournament wise. And hopefully we'll have you on in the future if you want. If you enjoyed this,
for sure.
If you enjoyed this, would love to have you
back. It was
back.
a lot of fun, Doyle, and I enjoyed it.
Hopefully you listeners enjoyed listening, and stay tuned. We'll see you in a couple weeks.